Hey everybody. So just to put it out there, yeah, it's a hard day for Colorado. It's a hard day for Aurora. Just with such horrific news that has happened over the last 14 hours or so. I'm usually careful about how I use Facebook as my medium for what I'm feeling. Never been one of those guys to post, bleeding heart kind of things. Just because I think, deeply personal stuff, at times needs to just be talked about face to face. But I think with this case, this situation, I really just want to dialogue about it, and I really just want to bring it out, more than just a status, but really just talk about the feelings and the thoughts behind of what's going on today. At least just in my life, and I just want to hear too, how people are doing as well, how they're impacted. For me personally, I'm fine. I don't have any friends who are impacted in it, but the fact that it was in Aurora and that it's closer to home, it hits more. When we tend to hear stuff on the news that happens overseas, well, out of sight, out of mind, the greater geographical distance, the greater distance of emotion, I think at times. I'm not saying that all the time, but, I think that's often the case when we hear stuff, but closer it hits to home, closer it hits to the heart. And I think today, I just want to talk about what's been going on in my mind and in my heart today, and just the pain, but also the hope, too. As I woke up today and just saw the stuff on the news and just got all the messages and concerned friends and family, it just hits you. I'm alive right now, and that could have been me. That could have been any movie theater. I had a friend from overseas ask me, aren't I scared? And I was like, yeah, it's scary, but it's, you can't think too much on it, because, that can happen. That could have happened anywhere. And you know what? All we're guaranteed is today. Anything can happen. So instead of becoming fearful about everything, I think that's one thing that I got to remind myself is, we live in a screwed up world. And that is very evident about what happened last night. And I've been struggling today because, as a Christian, as a follower of Jesus, as a believer, I struggle in these times. God, how did that happen? Why did that happen? And, those times of doubt come, and I'm sure you guys have felt that too. If you're a Christian or not, you might question, how can a good God do that? And instead of me using this time as to preach a sermon or to get into a whole discussion, I just wanted to put a short video on just saying, this is where I'm at right now. These are the thoughts that I'm having. And so with that said, I've been struggling with that today, but I've also been reminding myself of what does it mean to hope? Because I don't believe hope is wishful thinking, as if you're going to a Rockies game and you hope it doesn't rain that day. I believe hope is confidence, it's expectation, especially for the Christian, for the hope that we have in Christ, that we realize that this isn't our home. God knows this place is so screwed up, and He's prepared a place for us in the after. That death is not the extent, it's a transition into something perfect where we get to see God face to face, as if He says, that's my son, that's my daughter. Come on, run at me, boy. Give me a hug. And as I think that, I'm just reminded that, in my comfortable American life, I'm challenged to think even more. What am I living for? Because I am only guaranteed this day. And the thing is that there is hope. And then Romans chapter 8, Paul says, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. And there's that key phrase, those two words, all things. All things work together for good. That's what I hope in. And there's no circumstance that we can face that God won't look at and say, well, I'm going to leave you there. Maybe I use many double negatives. Essentially, God is saying there's nothing you can face in which I won't take you out of. There's hope in him. So I challenge you guys to process through the doubt, to process through the pain. Beat on God's chest because he already knows how you're feeling. He already knew you were going to face this before you were born. He is fully prepared to meet you right where you're at. So cut off the mask and go break before him. Tell me what you guys are thinking.